and all of a sudden, you didn't see it coming, spear. Roman Reigns is back. What's up, maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today, we are discussing SummerSlam. We had a really good show. The biggest party of the summer has come and gone, and we didn't see it coming. Like they said, we had a big return, necessary return, and a big return. You want to find out who that is? Stay tuned. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the review. So we're gonna jump straight to the main event where the biggest news is coming out from today. We had Braun Strowman defending the Universal Championship against The Fiend in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And you know what? They put on an okay match. I think it probably was the weakest wrestling match on the card. It might sound a bit harsh, but it was a good match. I think in the last couple of months, these men have told a really good story. It's improved over time. It's captivated us over time. I think this was a bit of a tired ending to what should have really been a high action, gruesome ending maybe. But both men have done really well over the last couple months. And after Braun took what was like a Stanley knife, a bit of a scalpel, to the ring, opened up the ring area, exposing the wooden boards in the ring, he actually got Sister Abigail'd twice onto that exposed area. The Fiend pinned him and The Fiend became the Universal Champion. Now, just to speak on Braun for a bit, I think this has been an underwhelming run as the Universal Champion. I think he done as best as he could. I mean, the times have been difficult with the no crowd and things like that. You know, them trying to turn Braun to a good guy has never really come across well. He is a monster. He should always have been a monster. He should always be on crud and destruction. But they tried to switch it up a bit. Never really took place. He's never really looked comfortable as well, probably because he knew this should have never been his spot. But my God, the owner of the spot had something to say. So as The Fiend is about to begin celebrating with his newly won championship, he turns to his left and all of a sudden, you didn't see it coming, spear. Roman Reigns is back. Roman Reigns that has not been around for God since just before WrestleMania, because you know Roman Reigns just came back roughly from remission. He is an ex-cancer patient and took himself out of, you know, the situation of traveling all the time to work because of the COVID situation. Roman Reigns is back and he looks better than ever. The whole internet wrestling community absolutely loved it. All of a sudden, everyone is a Roman Reigns fan. The real ones, we know who we are. We've been here since day one, but I love all the love that Roman was getting. He looks absolutely great. He absolutely put his fists through The Fiend. He went outside, he took a chair, he absolutely lambasted Braun Strowman. He just wasn't having it. He said, "You're not a monster unless I'm here." Like, he was going absolutely crazy. Got back into the ring. I think he delivered another spear to The Fiend, and he looked at the Universal Championship. He held it above his head. We're getting it, guys. I think they're going to pull the trigger as soon as Payback in the next week. I think Roman Reigns is here to clean up what has been probably underwhelming ratings on SmackDown. And Roman Reigns looks the part. He looks jacked. He's got a new shirt, wreck everyone and leave. Almost a play on Stone Cold's old shirt. I think it was raise hell and leave. He even looks like he's got his teeth done. Maybe he has been doing some Hollywood work in between, who knows. And a lot of people are going with the opinion that this is going to be a heel run for Roman. Something that we have all wanted, whether you liked him or you didn't. Something we have all been calling for since about 2015. So it is going to be brilliant. Roman Reigns back in the flesh, back in the main event, back at the top of the card, back again. Roman Reigns, welcome back. So I'm going to run through the rest of the card here for you guys. But before I do, please make sure if you're enjoying this review, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up. We thoroughly appreciate it right here at WrestleManiac UK, and it does great things for the channel. So unfortunately, I didn't see the pre-show, and for whatever reason, unfortunately, the United States match was there. If I knew it was going to be on the pre-show, I would have watched the pre-show, but Apollo Crews retained against MVP, so I do think next in Apollo's future is probably Bobby Lashley. Right, back on the main card now, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship being defended, Bayley versus Asuka, the first of Asuka's 2 matches, and it was a really good match. Bayley got her first win over Asuka since they've ever been wrestling each other in the company, but it has to be said, Sasha Banks was so involved in the finish. Sasha Banks took Asuka's rear view as she was on the apron, and then Bayley rolled up Asuka while she was in the ropes from the rear view, got the 1, 2, 3 and came out as champion. So that is the first thing that I guess we all predicted, that Bayley was going to retain her championship, which I guess only made for bad reading later on in the night. Bayley's monumental run continues. I think this is way over 300 days now that she has carried that title. Beating Asuka now. I'm guessing she's got Naomi probably coming up in the next few weeks. But yeah, Bayley's run continues. We had the Raw Tag Team Championship, Street Profits versus Garza and Andrade. And this again was a really high action match. Everyone looked really good in this match. I thought Zelina Vega was a bit underdressed, and I thought, you know, Zelina Vega usually has very elaborate outfits and kind of dressed in what I think was wrestling gear, that she was going to get involved in this match, which would probably lead to Bianca Belair coming out. And none of that kind of happened. It was a miscommunication between Andrade and Garza, which led to Street Profits win. Montez Ford going up top for one of those crazy frog splashes he does. He literally turned more or less 180 degrees in the air before he landed the frog splash on Garza, got the pin. Street Profits retained. Didn't see that coming. So with that miscommunication, that could probably lead to the end of Andrade and Garza. They've had this run together. They haven't captured the gold on this occasion. I'm not really sure how much they have left in the tank, to be honest. But yeah, Street Profits retain. They are now the longest serving Raw Tag Team Champions since I think 2016, since the brand split. So a really good accolade for them to have, and I hope their tag team run kind of picks up some steam now. It has in the recent weeks. A couple months ago with the whole Viking Raider stuff, it slowed down, but I hope they really gain some momentum and take on a lot of guys now. In probably one of the hottest feuds coming into SummerSlam, we had Mandy Rose taking on Sonya Deville in a no disqualification loser leaves WWE match. And Mandy Rose was really fired up for this one, guys. Like, I've never seen her so angry. Sonya Deville was getting her stuff into, but Mandy Rose just carried like a complete anger and passion throughout the match, really showing an edge which I don't think we've seen from her before. As predicted, Mandy Rose put Sonya away and got the victory. So Sonya Deville is no more in WWE. There was a backstage segment of Sonya Deville kind of leaving the show. Someone on camera was calling her Sonya for an interview, and she said, "Don't call me that. I don't want to hear you call me that ever again." So maybe Sonya Deville is going to take this break and come back completely repackaged, new name, new look, new gimmick. I guess we'll wait and see. We had the in-ring debut of Dominic Mysterio taking on Seth Rollins. From the beginning of the show, they showed the whole story. It was like Dominic Mysterio's first day at school, being dropped off by his parents. His mom and his dad, Rey Mysterio, was there, and just literally taking him through the motions until literally he went out there. We saw them even backstage in gorilla position before he went out. And Dominic Mysterio put on a really good match. You know, this guy has been in wrestling training. He wasn't like a complete newbie to this, but Seth Rollins, Dominic Mysterio, it was a really good match. It got a bit vicious after a while. I did think the fact it was like a street fight was a bit slow in terms of how aggressive it was, especially at first. It definitely got there. It ended with Rey Mysterio actually getting handcuffed to the bottom rope, where he was absolutely helpless, couldn't help Dominic Mysterio, who had received a real bad beating by that point, and then he got stomped by Seth Rollins, got the pin. Rey Mysterio looked on helplessly. I think his mom was even looking on helplessly at that point. She was standing at the top of the entranceway, and I don't think this feud is finished. Seth picked up the win here, but I still think we're probably going to see a tag match, Buddy and Seth versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic. There's probably still legs in this feud, but a really good match, a really strong debut for Dominic Mysterio, and I think he could be very proud of the work he's done even on Raw up to this point. We had the second of Asuka's championship matches. This time she was fighting Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship, and like I said earlier on, The writing was more or less on the wall, I think. It's just a matter of how they were gonna do this. We've seen these two go on quite a few occasions recently, and this match was like the rest. It was really good, high action paced, a load of good selling. We know that Sasha Banks is forte, really selling moves. And they more or less tried to replicate the spot where Sasha kind of distracted Asuka and Bayley picked up the win earlier on in the night, but Bayley didn't do it. Bayley inadvertently costed Sasha, and Asuka picked up the win. Sasha's face, absolutely shocked. I'm sure Bayley was even grinning at some point. She went in to kind of offer her condolences to Sasha, but Sasha looked enraged, like she was going to attack Bayley. She didn't, but I'm sure Bayley was even grinning, like she found this kind of funny. So we're going to see what's going to happen. These two are going to defend their women's tag titles at Payback the following week. So I'm sure there's more to the story that's going to come out for these two. I do think that it was kind of obvious that Asuka was going to win. No way could Asuka ever lose 2 championship matches on the same night. That wouldn't have been good for Asuka at all. Sasha Banks continues to fail to defend her titles after she wins them. 5 times Raw champion. Probably the least amount of accumulated days as champion ever, which is really poor, especially for someone as good as Sasha Banks. I don't know what it is, but yeah, unfortunately, Sasha Banks drops her title here. Last but not least, we had Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Orton. I can't lie, throughout the match is where I was waiting for the whole "you'll never see it coming." I thought it was going to come in this match. I was waiting for shenanigans on Randy Orton's behalf, maybe someone else to get involved. It didn't come. These two had a very clean, straight to the point, but hard-hitting, powerful wrestling match. It was very, very good. The one downside, I guess, it was the finish. The finish was Drew McIntyre won with like a backslide pin. You know, it wasn't like a definitive finish and pin. It was like a cheeky getaway kind of win, which maybe the match kind of required to protect Randy Orton or protect whoever the loser was going to be. I think many, including myself, thought that Randy Orton was going to pick it up here, but he didn't. Drew McIntyre defeated him in probably what was Drew McIntyre's hardest championship defense to date. So a really good match. The finish was a bit underwhelming just in terms of it wasn't a definitive finish and pin, but Drew McIntyre's reign goes on. Drew McIntyre probably going to be looking for a new challenger in the next couple weeks, and I think we all saw it during the show. Keith Lee is going up to Raw. He is going to be on Raw on Monday. He obviously had a little segment on the network over the last week where Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre were sparring. Those two have history from Evolve, so maybe Keith Lee is going straight to the WWE Championship. Is he gonna win it? I doubt it, but Drew McIntyre needs challengers. Keith Lee, a former NXT champion. There's a couple other guys on the roster too that can challenge Drew, but we'll see how this goes. So that is it, guys. That is my SummerSlam review. It was a very good show given the circumstances. Again, no crowds, which always makes it difficult for these guys to really suck in the passion of the crowd and deliver that in the match. But all the matches were good. Like I said, I probably think Strowman versus Wyatt was the weakest match of them all. Like I said, I didn't see the pre-show match, so I don't know. A couple people have told me that I didn't miss much, but I think on the main card, Strowman and Wyatt could have been a bit more vicious. But a really good card altogether. Everyone involved should be really pleased with themselves. And Roman Reigns, the Big Dawg, is back. I'm looking forward to what has been said to be a heel run. I'm not sure if they should put the title on him straight away like some have rumored, but it's just good to have him back. That star power on SmackDown has definitely been missed in the last couple of months. And I'm already looking forward to Friday to see what he's gonna do on SmackDown. Guys, if you enjoyed this review, please give me a thumbs up, like the video. It does a lot for the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.